Good evening, everybody, and welcome along to Imola for the Emilia-Romagna Grand Prix. It's the second Italian Grand Prix on the real-life Formula 1 calendar. Of course, the only one that we have got in the DLR Championship. It's a 4.909 kilometre circuit, 3.05 miles. That's going to take you to a top speed of 181 miles per hour. Elevation change of 34.4 meters with 19 turns around this circuit. Action zones then. Hamilton versus Verstappen in 2021. Early stages of what turned out to be a bubbling and concurrent title battle all the way through to the end of that season. Sergio Perez as well in 2021, getting a proper slide on into the barrier, if my memory serves me correctly, was able to continue in that particular race. Only just though, Hamilton was certainly able to continue in this race in a championship defining moment. He went straight on into the barrier at turn 7. Those are the recent memories of this Imola circuit. 5 tyre compounds at play throughout the course of this race weekend. We only expect to see 3 of them. That's the C4, C3 and the C2. The wet and intermediate tyres, of course, being allowed in the race if they are needed. Highly doubt it though, as welcome along then as we go down onto the circuit. Welcome along to No Name in the YouTube chat, saying that the intro is sick. I have to say they are. You can actually get them off of F1 TV, and apparently you're allowed to use them in these league races. So there we go. That's what we do. And well, we can head out onto the circuit where Shell's Kitchen is setting the first lap of the day, or getting out of the pits very early on, not setting the first lap of the day. In fact, that title would probably go to one of the Williams cars. I believe Luke Paul setting the first lap of the day. Here he goes, up into turn 1, the Tamburello. Of course, now a chicane, used to be a flat-out left-hander. Right on board with the Williams, one of the poorer cars in this grid. Luke Paul has done well so far in this season to drag it up to 15th position in the championship, of course. Up to the left-hander he goes, brakes at the 50 board. Just a little bit disconnected from the car. Luke Paul here, struggling with a little bit of understeer, not quite finding the proper limit. His No Name is giving a bold prediction of Alpha Tauri finishing in 3rd position in the constructors standing. This is a note that I wanted to make, as well, tied on points are Alpha Tauri with Alpine for this ongoing battle for 3rd position in the Constructors' Championship. Of course, it being the last race of the season after no points were scored at the Canadian Grand Prix. It was all come down to a battle in Imola. The 2 Williams cars, by the way, are slipstreaming each other. It's 118.7 for Luke Paul. CTF goes to the top of the timing tower with a 117.9. The Haas, well, outperforming every bit of a Haas into this final round of the season, but none of the front runners, so to speak, have set a lap time just yet. It looks like Lazy Killer actually is in the Red Bull this time out, which means that TNK is going to be his teammate. That means world champion JB is out of the car for the time being, which by the way sort of skews our our poll in the YouTube chat. I just took the first 3. Oh, he is racing. I apologise. No name. He's in the Alpha Tauri, JB. And, well, that's unbelievable. That is his 3rd team of the season. I didn't spot him down there in the Alpha Tauri. But smart from Alpha. Let's see what JB can do, as he is the world champion. There was a sort of joking rumour that Max Verstappen was going to do this towards the end of the of last season to help Alpha Tauri in their conquest. And why not? He's wrapped up the championship. Might as well go through with it. Lazy Killer goes to the top of the timing tower. A big moment for him as well, who can hope that his car can carry him to victory. Not saying that he wouldn't be able to get victory in equal machinery, but when you're in a Red Bull, it certainly helps. This is why I love the equal divisions, the realistic divisions, I should say, because you get interesting scenarios like this. Let's see what JB can do, wearing the number 7 on the car. Up through to the left-hander. Imola, I cannot physically get my corner names nailed down for this circuit. I know this is Acqua Minerale, of course. But in terms of most of the corners, I always sort of, on Imola weekend, remember them by Sunday and then forget about them again. I think this is the Variante Alta. As all know, JB has made a little bit of a mistake. He slides slightly, but most importantly, purple in Sector 2. This is a promising lap from the world champion. Through into the final couple of corners of this Imola circuit. Turn 19, just slightly on edge, a very slidey setup. Not a lot of downforce carried through into this Imola circuit. Crosses the line, JB goes second. That is incredible. It really is a sight to behold. Unbelievable stuff into second position. He honestly could win this World Championship in an AlphaTauri. You heard it here first. But, well, they'll want to keep an eye on Slick in the Ferrari. He's sitting down there in 17th position. On an outlap, however, TNK still into the pits. He'll be hoping for a consolatory win here. Of course, missing out on the championship with a DNF last time out robbed us of a great finale here, and probably robbed Alpine of a third position as well. As I'm hearing that SC's actually in a Haas. I apologise if I've made that mistake, but yes, there are actually names that I hadn't even noticed chopping and changing for the final race of the season. So it's Guillaume Paisley and Slick in the Ferrari. It's SC and CTF in the Haas. There were suggestions throughout the course of this season. SC perhaps hasn't been performing to the best of his ability in the Ferrari, which I think is a little bit unfair. He sits in third in the championship, has got 3 podiums, but I think there's a general sense amongst some people in the league that he should have done more in that car. But, well, in the Haas now, with a Christmas topping for his helmet as well. And I'm sitting on the fence in that argument, by the way. Just pointing out that it is something I've read. Just trying to see if anyone's actually coming round to finish a lap. Probably importantly for this third place battle, it's Hunty crossing the line to start a new lap. There's no name saying SC bottled the championship. To be honest with you, I'm not going to be harsh on SC, but I'd probably agree. I think if you look at it factually, the Ferrari is, even if only slightly, either the best or the second best car on the grid. So realistically speaking, you should be at least challenging for the championship. Though nothing that Charles Leclerc didn't do in real life, of course. Hunty here on a quietly decent lap up to Acqua Minerale. Third gear, second gear. Shifting up and down in rapid fire fashion, almost like you'd see in the 2019 game. Can run a lot of curb through this corner. Hunty, one of the drivers who does run traction control, so can afford to use the lower gears. Slick goes to the top of the timing tower, 116.3. Nothing for Ferrari to fight for here. They are well and truly behind Red Bull and well and truly ahead of AlphaTauri. What can the AlphaTauri do as he crosses the line? 118.9 for Hunty. He goes into 12th position, stays in 12th position, unable to improve on that occasion. So then we keep an eye on the 2 Alpines. Shell's Kitchen on an outlap in 6th position at the moment. There's no name says at least Charles had the team to blame. I'll allow you to throw your shade. So, make no comments. Here is wins on a flying lap, but invalidated, so we'll have to go around again. Plenty of ER, oh no, not plenty of ERS at all in this Mercedes. Perhaps then an in-lap would be the suggestion there. Do want to now keep an eye on Shell's Kitchen, who is, according to the game, on a lap, and that indicates that he's about to start a lap. Through the final corner he goes. 3 minutes this particular lap. Won't be going to the top of the timing tower with that one. Starting this new one, then down, up into Tamburello. Look for the 50-metre board, perhaps does find the 50-metre board. Fourth gear, just ease the car in. A little bit of a coast up to the apex, so not absolutely optimal at the moment, but certainly driving within the bounds of the car. Now brake just as you turn in to the quick left-right of Villeneuve and up to the hairpin second gear. Reasonably early apex for Shell's Kitchen, not exactly what you'd expect to see around this Imola circuit, but a lap that at the moment is hitting all the marks. Fifth gear through the left-hander up to Aqua Minerale, down into this particular corner. Brake as late as you physically can through there as you go up the hill. Easy on the exit as well, can easily lose the car. Now into the Variante Alta, it's a purple second sector for Shell's Kitchen. This is actually a much better lap than I am leading on up into the final couple of corners. 27% of ERS to play with, should be enough to get to the line. I'm LPM goes second position in the McLaren, third gear, second gear up to the final corner of the Imola circuit, and now with traction control it's going to be quite difficult to get a good exit here out of the final corner. Seems to get an exit well enough, and 17.2 is the time across the line for Shell's Kitchen. A very decent lap, but not a superb lap, I think is the summary of that one. His teammate is just a little bit further behind. And I'm going to quickly, I apologise, turn my audio down ever so slightly, just so when I shout it doesn't red line as much, or whatever the fancy audio term is. And to keep an eye on JP, who has got the pace to go pole position in this car. Goes 24 seconds in the first sector, purple in sector 1. This could turn into an absolutely unbelievable lap. Genuinely so. And if he wins today, then I think all the conversations about perhaps a little bit unfair having that best car will evaporate. As here he goes up through to the Variante Alta. Please tell me I'm getting the corner names wrong. Purple in sector 2 for JB. Third gear through there, but a little bit deep. Frustrating for the AlphaTauri. Up to the final two corners then. 50-metre board picks it out. Third gear, eases the car in. Absolutely on top of this AlphaTauri as JB has managed to get this lap strung together almost perfectly. Crossing the line, it should be pole position. It won't be. It'll be second position for JB. 2-1 slick. 116.3 is just a little bit too much for the demoted world champion. But definitely in with a chance of winning this race. It's going to be a close one. I think JB even feels like he's in with a chance of getting this pole position against what is essentially all the odds that you could present to him. There are the gaps and things. 0.6 of a second between first and third. 0.3 of a second between first and second. As Jake outperforming Lazy points out, no name, and indeed Lazy Killer in 5th position. Do you know, my suggestion as we have a brief lull in the action in qualifying for a realistic division, in my opinion, would be that you take the best drivers in the division, you put them in the worst car, and vice versa. I think that would make a really interesting dynamic. Even if it's only just for one race. Or have like a hit race where you have to switch cars out with one of the back markers. Lazy Killer then runs up to the line. Can he outperform the driver that has replaced him in that AlphaTauri? And he can. Goes into second position, 16.4. Dodo saying that the good drivers don't like it. Well, the good drivers never like anything. This is the issue with good drivers. Unless it's directly giving them points, they will never agree to it. Yes, to be fair, I can see the issue that it would cause with the league itself. people not wanting to turn up to race in the slowest cars. But, well, Jake's demotion has actually been something of a spanner into the works in this race. As right now, setting up a wonderful little battle with that top two. Here's CTF looking to outperform. Here's Haas. They sit 5th in the constructors' standings. A little bit further behind the other two than they would like. It would require essentially a flat-out victory, and both AlphaTauri and Alpine to basically score no points. So unrealistic. Their position right now, for what it's worth, would be going to Alpine off the top of my head, with 6th and 5th. Here's Hunty trying to get a little bit closer to his teammates. You would expect has to absolutely wring the neck of this AlphaTauri. Up to the chicane, 2 tenths down in Sector 2. This is not the lap that perhaps he was dreaming of. So if you look at the ERS on the left-hand side of this HUD, actually there's a suggestion that he's charging and making sure that he can go again for one final attack into the last minute and 12 seconds. It will be the Ferrari of Guilherme Paisley who sets the first lap of this final couple, I believe. Zunti will be directly following him. It will indeed be Paisley eyeing up that pole position. First real opportunity to get a pole position through the Villeneuve chicane up to Tota. It's a bit of slipstream to help from the Mercedes here. We'll hope we'll get out of the way in due course. The Mercedes does get out of the way, rather nicely indeed. Though a little bit of slide out of the apex of that corner from Paisley. Still on a pretty roaring lap at the moment. So that slipstream will help all the way through. Lazy Killer comes into the pits. That's the last of his qualifying session. What can Paisley do? Up through the chicane. He can't do anything. He's just missed his braking point, you know. As in fact, there's been an issue further back as the Mercedes, I think, has had a major problem. Not too sure what's happened there, but regardless, now we switch our attention to the likes of JB and perhaps the people coming through Sector 3. Oh, what's happened to JB? Oh, into the barrier he goes. And it's unbelievable stuff. About 3 people have just spun out. What can LPM do? There can't have been anything on the circuit. There's a few people leaving the session now. Do we, I dare say, have a red flag in this race? I'll consult with the Discord, but that would seem unusual for everyone to just fly off of the road in quick succession. As it stands, though, Slick is on pole position with Lazy Killer in second. And, well, 32 laps of Imola ahead of us. That's the assumption that I'm running on right now. The question will be whether Heine can go into any higher territory. Won't be able to do so. 17 seconds off of his best lap. So clearly issues striking the Williams as well. I'm under the assumption that this is the checker flag, and those are indeed the lap times that have been recorded in this race. So we'll see you in about 5 minutes' time for the race here at Imola. welcome back to Imola for the Italian Grand Prix, well, the second Italian Grand Prix of the season. That was a mistake I did make in the intro that I was hoping no one would notice, but I've sort of, well, ruined it for myself now. But anyway, here we are, as Slick is on pole position. I can tell you what happened throughout the course of the end of that qualifying session, and essentially what happened was TTV was setting up to go on a lap and didn't let someone through and ran into the back of, and that was basically what happened there. It was all a little bit confusing, and haven't seen the incident. I've just saw a description of what happened, so won't comment. But we will wait for the start of this race. So it's Slick on the hard tyres, medium tyres for Lazy Killer. Felix Bakero did manage to pip JB to the third place post in the end of that qualifying session. That will be interesting for the Alpine AlphaTauri battle. Now here, I think the interesting thing is that the Alpine have probably really got to hope here that they can finish this race, because if they do, they'll probably get third in this championship. And I think AlphaTauri will probably be thinking, we need to hope that Jake can run this on his own, and maybe some bad luck from the Alpine crew will allow us to nick this third place in the championship. But as they round the final corner now, the front runners, Slick will take his grid slot. Ferrari looking to get back to winning ways. It's been Red Bull dominance throughout the course of most of this season. However, the world champion, of course, is sitting down in fourth position in an AlphaTauri, and the second place runner in the championship is sitting down in 18th position, not setting a qualifying time. Camera angles not doing us a great justice. Wait for the jolt and eventually the lights. It's 5 red lights in Imola, and it's lights out and away we go. It looks like it's a fairly decent start from Slick, but also a rocketing start from Lazy Killer, who tries to go around the outside down into turn 1. This is going to get very tasty indeed. There's JB as well looking to make up ground as they go down into turn 1. It will be 3 wide. Around the outside goes the Red Bull and onto the gravel as well. CTF has retired from the session early on, and we've got a very, very early safety car indeed, as Lazy Killer falls all the way down into 5th position. He saw blood. It's a full safety car as well. And, well, he saw red as well, straight off into the gravel. And not an ideal way to get around the outside into turn 1, that's for sure. But safety car very early on in this race. CTF is going to retire from it in the early stages. And there we go. So at the instant of what it's worth, at the end of qualifying session, is between Hunty and X2, who is X2 twins on the in the Mercedes down in 10th position. So that's what happened. But now trying to figure out what happened into turn 1. But anyway, I'm hearing the word sandwich and the word crash, so I'm assuming carbon fibre went flying anywhere. But well, Heiner involved in the incident as well. He's now fallen down the order into 17th position for Williams. To keep you updated on the whole Alpine AlphaTauri situation, it would be Alpine at the moment to go on to take the third place in the championship. Though Hunty has got past Felix Bakero, so that is an encouraging moment for them if JB can get past Shell's Kitchen now. But my belief would be that they do in fact go on to take the points. So it's basically between these two, as long as it stays as it is between Hunty and Felix Bakero. I mean, in an ideal situation, we get to a case where they both crash out and we just have a battle between Jake and Shell's Kitchen for the third place honours. Sure, taking third place is actually a very interesting thing for a team, because you never know if you should celebrate or not. I got third place in a karting championship this year, and it was sort of a weird one. You go up to collect your trophy and you're like, oh, do I really want to take this? It's like, it's not a celebratory achievement, it's just a cool thing to get into top 3. I don't know. It's definitely important enough to these teams, that's for sure, in a realistic division, with JB being demoted for this. Not that it would have too much of a bearing on the Red Bull finishing position, of course, having already wrapped up that Constructors' Championship. But not having a strong showing so far, Red Bull, I think is the important thing here, as there is TAK at the very back of the field. Made up 3 positions off at the start, which is good going. Perhaps not perfect enough going. There's Noka and Ricciardo here having a bit of a scuffle. Safety car has shown, has had a lot of action so far in this championship, particularly in the races that I've broadcast. I don't think we've yet to see a round that has gone green running to the very end, although to be fair, you don't often get that in league racing as a whole, a totally green flag affair. Neither in F1 esports, of course, where, well, you do in F1 esports, I should say, where safety cars disable. You could open up an entire kettle of fish about that one. Presumably, safety car will be in this lap. We're just keeping an eye on Fred the Red, who's sat down in the pit lane. If he can't catch up to the field, there is a potential that maybe we'll get the final little bit of safety car running. By that I mean an extra lap. See what we can do as he goes up into Tosa. Should catch up to the field by the start of Sector 3. You can see he's definitely not going slowly. Hopefully no marshals on the track. But I think everyone very keen to get this race back up and running properly on lap 3 of 32. It's a very quick circuit here. The race in theory shouldn't go on for longer than 40 minutes or so. The safety car is called in this lap, so he has caught up to the field well enough. Here's Fred the Red. Let's wait and see then. What can Slick do? Off with the restart is Mercedes in second position, an Alpine in third, and an AlphaTauri in fourth. The front runners having that shake-up due to the championship. Can Ferrari return to their dominance? He does go at this opportunity, the earliest opportunity, Slick really, and it's going to invite rather than pressure onto himself. Pressure from Shell's Kitchen up into second position perhaps on the Mercedes, down the inside into Tomborello. JB's having a battle with Lazy Killer as well. He hasn't got the memo, but down the inside goes Shell's Kitchen into turn 1. Will be re-overtaken potentially by the Mercedes, though. Mercedes going to have to brave it around the outside of Villeneuve. Can't quite find the space. Might be able to find the momentum here for a potential switchback into Tosa. Again down the inside, maybe just thinking against it in the end. LPM is going to swallow up JB now, who holds on to 5th position. Not the ideal restart for him in unfamiliar hardware. Just about moves down into 4th position as well. Now Lazy Killer making up the ground in that superior Red Bull, of course. Hunty is still ahead of Felix at Baker and the other Alpine, which is certainly something that we must keep an eye on. There's been Heine, I believe, has spun around into turn 3, I want to say, not turn 3, just into sector 2, regardless. Aqua Minerali rather, as a Lazy Killer has also had a turn of fortune down into 10th position, has to bang wheels with a Williams and just about hold on to 10th position. Luke Paul will brave this one around the outside, and in fact he has to pull out of the move in the end. That was certainly very frosty between the two of them. Luke Paul just struggling with the understeer provided by this Williams car on the medium tyres. And the straight line speed speaking for itself rather, as Gear Paisley tries to make up some positions. Hunty is the man that he sets his sights on. Not quite able to get through on this occasion, though of course no DRS due to the early safety car period. There goes round the McLaren and into the AlphaTauri as well, and that is colossal in the context of 3rd place in this championship. And unsurprisingly, we get a safety car. Let's have a ride on board with Fred the Red to see what happened to the AlphaTauri. Has been cleared away. Well, I need to look at the replay on the YouTube screen The McLaren just lost it. It went straight into the AlphaTauri, and that is huge. Second safety car period of the day. And now Felix Bakero and Shell's Kitchen give us a massive change in this championship, as X2 is now throwing some shade in the Discord chat at Hunty, I should say. There's Jake saying, what on earth is this race? And I have to say, I have to agree, this is unbelievable so far. We've had, well, 2 laps of green flag running. Might turn into a very long evening. The longest league race, mind you, I've commentated on this year, was 52 minutes. And that was a wet race at Spa. And, oh! On the safety car! JB runs into the Mercedes! And unsurprisingly, he gets a 5-second time penalty. That was just Seppel, who now loses his front wing. It's all going wrong for AlphaTauri. And whilst he does get a podium position, I think if the 5-second time penalty under safety car given by the game doesn't suffice, the stewards definitely going to have a look at that one, because Seppel now is going to fall down to the bottom of this field. A few takers for the pit stops. TNK, Fred the Red and LPM all coming into the pits at this opportunity. LPM presumably changing that wing. I'm assuming he was the McLaren that caused this incident. And oh, yes, I would say probably so, given the repetition of the accident. This time just in less glorious fashion. Not glorious for Hunty, mind you. Slick then. He's holding on to first position. He's led every single lap so far of this race. He's done a lot of them behind the virtual Burton Wylander in the virtual Aston Martin safety car. Second safety car period of the evening. Evening, yes, it is evening. And Shell's Kitchen holding on to second position. He's going to see his team take third place in this championship as it stands, and to be honest with you, on the balance of probabilities, most likely throughout the course of the day. Seppel unsurprisingly comes into the pits to get that wing changed. SC and JB as well. JB's got to change his front wing. He'll serve the 5-second time penalty, and well, it's just getting worse for AlphaTauri, who now fall down into 16th and out. JB needs to hope something happens to these Alpines that are currently running 2nd and 4th. It was a gamble to put JB into the car. It was a gamble that was working until, of course, that particular incident. Realistically, they'll just be frustrated with how it's turned out for Hunty, who was very much caught up in someone else's accident. Penalty situation to remind you, 5 seconds for TTV Twins. Caught up in that controversial qualifying incident a little bit earlier on in the evening. It's the only penalties so far in the field. As for the tyres, we'll remind you of those intermediate tyres for SC. That is certainly an interesting strategy. I'm assuming that there is no rain coming, and that's a mistake, but the clouds are looking slightly ominous. Safety car is in this lap, and SC may just get swallowed up here, and I suspect he may come into the pits rather quickly, but everyone else, a mixture of medium and hard tyres, a single stop being expected this evening, if you weren't able to catch that a little bit earlier on. I can't remember if I mentioned it or not. Those are the pit stops for you. 3 stops already for Fred the Red. And let's have a look at Slick. Will he opt to go at the same time as he did in the previous safety car period. He is on board with his teammates and he just goes slick, and it's jumping the gun for Pierre Paisley. As now there's been an incident further back in the field. It's going to be Ricciardo and Heine both out of the race, and I dare say we might have another safety car here with Sector 1 and Sector 2. They've taken each other out, down into the pit straight, and I think into the pit wall as well as going through into turn 1. He couldn't quite get the jump. It could Paisley as he just about lost out to the car ahead of him. And now Lazy Killer down the inside on Luke Paul into the Villeneuve chicane. It's so tight, and he now has to switch to the outside. A beautiful switch back into Tosa. Actually, as JB is out of the session. And that's huge. The world champion crashes out of the final race of the season in the sister car. That now means that he is going to basically have failed the gamble, and Alpine will take this third position. SC has got a 3-second time penalty. We now see Lazy Killer looking to make even more progress up this field around the outside perhaps of the Mercedes, who was trying to send a move on Felix Baker at this opportunity. Let's ride on board with the Mercedes then on hard tyres down into the final couple of corners. Not quite able to get the overspeed on Felix Baker at the moment. There goes a Ferrari off onto the gravel almost. And Paisley now going to have a major issue keeping this Alpine behind down into turn 1. Let's ride on board with the Alpine, who just about is unable to get any overspeed on that Ferrari of Paisley. He's got to be mindful of the Mercedes as well as Lazy Killer down in 6th position, looking for a podium. His only real chance of a podium so far, given that he is in that Red Bull. Now Twins thinking about a move maybe down the inside. Doesn't do so. Switchback though will be available to him, and switchback will be what is made as Felix Baker makes a slight mistake into the Villeneuve chicane. And now there goes Lazy Killer as well, looking to attack both of them. In fact, he might take 2 in 1 here. Lazy Killer in the Red Bull. He is going to take 2 in 1 down the inside into the left-hander, and the Red Bull moves up into 4th position and can now set his sights on the Ferrari and the Alpine. Of course, perhaps even the race win, though that is a good 3 seconds down the road at this stage. Incredible racing then so far, would you believe it, as we'll go on to the time penalties. 8 seconds for TTV Twins, who is really not having the best of days at the moment despite running in 5th position. So here goes Felix Baker. DRS enabled on this lap. He won't get it on this straight. Lazy Killer sets the fastest lap of the race at 1:19.999. Can Felix Baker get around the outside, down the inside, or whatever, down into turn 1? He has to commit to the outside line, and look at the slipstream he's going to get. In fact, he'll be outbroken, and Twins just about holds on to 5th position here as the rain starts to fall by the looks of things. I think I just saw a speck of rain on the camera. That would throw yet another curveball into this race. Still struggling with that Villeneuve chicane though is Felix Baker, and there is the rain. Certainly now. Yet another weird moment in this race. As maybe SC wasn't so stupid at all. He is going to fall down the order regardless, as TNK now looks to get around the outside of Luke Paul, which he is going to do. So he's going to have to be brave with the rain falling down, but he's going to be able to pull off the move on the Williams that really isn't at the races through no fault of Luke Paul's own, really. He might go for a counter-attack here down into the Variante Alta, but just can't find it, and again goes wide and struggles along. An unfortunate theme for this Williams car. And I do blame the car totally, not him. Now, last chance really to use DRS here for Lazy Killer, who's used almost all of his ERS I should say. Will breeze by though on Lazy Killer, on Paisley this occasion, down into the chicane. We'll find the position, and in due course DRS is disabled, so that will add a very interesting spanner into the works, as now Twins is going to spin round and collect the McLaren of LPM as well into the wall. And he goes out, and it's another safety car. LPM is able to just trudge along. The second mistake from the second incident involving a McLaren at that corner in this race. Third safety car of the race. And now he's going to have to trudge around to the pits and surely put on intermediate tyres, or does anyone think about perhaps even putting on wet tyres in this race, I wonder? Maybe SC not making the most stupid call of his life. As now we watch on with a little bit of intrigue as Slick will surely take a change off of the slick tyres during the safety car period. I think it would be borderline suicidal in the context of the race not to do so. We had rain last week in Abu Dhabi, just about getting rain here in Imola as we approach half distance in the race. Did tell my friend I'd play Call of Duty with him at 9 o'clock, but appears to be the case here is the Ferraris, by the way. That is a beautiful double stack. Wow. I have never seen a double stack so well executed in the Formula 1 game. I swear he didn't stop. I need to watch that on the replay. I couldn't get a great angle of it, but I'm pretty sure. No, he didn't stop. My word. The rain really is falling down now, to the point that I'd actually argue that we could get to wet running at some stage in this race. SC, by the way, I laughed at him. I really did laugh at him because it was preposterous. But he's taken the intermediate tyres and now he leads the race. Up 12 of 32 then in the DLR Realistic Division Season 5 finale. Exciting plans going on for Season 6 already. And one more name to be written into the winner's book. That's not a thing, but the line works. SC, by the way, would be so desperately unlucky for his only win of his second win of the season to come in a Haas after being in what I can assume, to my knowledge, a Ferrari for the majority of this season. Biggest case of sod's law ever. The biggest news, though, to keep an eye on, of course, is that Alpha Tauri, I should say, are pretty much out of the race for third position in these constructors' standings. It's going to go to Alpine, almost certainly now. It would require Shell's Kitchen and Felix Beguereau to crash out for them to not take this victory. Not victory, this third position. I suppose a victory for them. I just wonder how much more safety car running can we get in. I think we only had about 8 laps of green running. This race is slowly ticking along though and slowly bubbling up now into the wet conditions. The question will be whether Slick can get past SC in any reasonable haste. Safety car then is in on this lap. Lap 13 of 32, and now SC with a Christmas pudding atop his helmet. We have to very fiery restart I should say, after a brief safety car period. 4th gear SC. Not going to take any risks off of this restart. That is for certain. The tyres are going to be freezing cold. Maybe not his. They'll be nice and toasty after 5 laps of dry running as we get back underway here for the season finale in DLR Realistic Division. Here's Shell's Kitchen looking to take what could potentially turn into the net lead of the race, but backs out of the move rather sensibly. And SC goes straight on and gets a 3-second time penalty for corner cutting the grip. Clearly not quite coming to him as now Paisley tries to get around Shell's Kitchen. Can't quite find any room anywhere on the circuit right now. And in fact, there goes Lazy Killer down the inside. Paisley will try and brave it out around the outside, but Lazy Killer just about able to find the space. Came out of absolutely nowhere to get that move and up into 4th position. A quietly very impressive drive from the debutant in the Red Bull team. Felix Baker is being passed by Jezebel. Now Felix Baker will look to attack once more. Lots of lifting and coasting, lots of leisurely driving at this stage. If I was in one of the cars at this stage, I'd probably be tempted to put on a little bit of traction control in the settings ahead of the safety car restart, just low, just to make sure that you can keep the car on the road. Particularly if you're on a dry setup, it is something that's allowed, so why not take advantage of it? Apart from pure head game, of course. Shell's Kitchen gets a 3-second time penalty. Here's Lazy Killer. Can he find a way through into a podium position? A podium position that right now he is going to gain in terms of time penalties. Maybe he thinks about a move down the inside. Maybe he's used with great caution. That's Alpine just having a few issues with the understeer still. Lazy Killer having no issues with his car whatsoever. Looking to now go around the outside. Perhaps that switchback that has plagued the Alpines so much throughout this race is going to be employed once again. Lazy Killer gets into a podium position and now with a real chance to start to attack the lead of this race. The lead of the race which is gained by Slick ahead of SC, who took the gamble. One of the older tyres is not able to hold on to it. Now Lazy Killer perhaps sliding his way through into McLaren O'Reilly. Can't get into 2nd position at this stage, but certainly will now eye up the race lead. This is a rocketing drive from Lazy Killer at the moment and has got 2nd position on penalties, of course. But we'll want to get it on track, no doubt. More so we can attack the race lead as well. But maybe now with Slick being unleashed past SC, maybe it might just be something that doesn't come particularly easily to him. Keep an eye on Lazy Killer then as he rounds the final corner now. Uses a little bit of an unconvincing exit there. Has got plenty of ERS to try and make this move. Won't have the aid of DRS in the wet, of course. Has a lot of overspeed, 202 mile an hour perhaps, but just tops out before the Haas does. It loses him a little bit of time. Still space, still chance to make this move. He squirms around through the left-handed kink of Tumbarello. Has to fight off Shell's Kitchen. And that just takes the pace out of this move as there goes LPM round. I believe it will be LPM round. No more safety cars though, of course, because he is going to get back running again. Now a chance down the inside perhaps for Lazy Killer, who might be squeezed just about onto the grass. He's still getting squeezed here, but has the inside line. Oh, they take each other out. And SC goes round and into the barrier. There's more yellow flags flying. There's carbon fibre flying everywhere, and we have a virtual safety car. I think it was a racing incident. I'd call it a racing incident. Shell's Kitchen gets past Lazy Killer because Lazy Killer goes off of the circuit. My word. It's only a virtual safety car, so Lazy Killer will be looking to get back past as soon as he can. He's left the session. That is going to add a mighty spanner into the works, as now all of that positive progress is devalued. He's going to have to get into the session as soon as possible, hopefully, before we get any major green running done. Will be almost passed by Pierre Paisley, who desperately wants to get this second position. Has to concede it and is falling away past Shell's Kitchen now. He was going to be a major gainer off of the Lazy Killer misfortunes. Wait to see when this safety car comes in, with his virtual safety car at least. SC is into the pits, unsurprisingly. There we go, back to green as Noka gets a 5-second or drive-through penalty for speeding under the virtual safety car. Lazy Killer is still out of the session, presumably an internet issue or game issue of some description, not able to get back into the session though, and now this gives Slick an absolutely wonderful opportunity to sail away in the last sort of 20 laps of this race or so. I say 20 laps, from more about 15 laps. Shell's Kitchen holding off, of course, Lazy Killer, who is an AI at the moment. If he was to pass him, that would be a little bit of an embarrassing moment. He's going to go down the inside, you know. Oh my word, I've never seen an AI make a move like that. Unbelievable stuff. The AI has just gone for a centre and frost in Suzuka. Unbelievable. Here's just Justabel, the sole runner for Mercedes at the moment, looking to attack Pierre Paisley at any possible opportunity here. Plenty of ERS in the tank of this car, but has he got the straight line speed to back it up? He's going to crest about 200 miles an hour, much faster than the Ferrari down into Tamburello, but not fast enough without the DRS. It's just a little bit too far back, and that will be frustrating. Neither of them able to attack Lazy Killer though, which is the important thing here as he catches up a great deal through Tamburello, and now it's a sliding through, just about goes onto the grass and keeps the car in check. Oh, you could see that happening almost in slow motion. He's going to be frustrated greatly at that. Time penalties as well being a thing. Around the outside he goes, the mistake when Paisley sends it around the outside. Can he get the exit speed onto the curb? He goes, a banging wheel still all the way up into the left-hander, and he just about is able to find his way through into 4th position despite his slight mistake onto the grass. Frustration for Paisley, who's really just been outdone there. However, 3 seconds of time penalty is being carried by Justabel, so don't keep an eye on that, I should say, as 3 second time penalty now for Paisley, so actually it's going to be a net gain of nothing. Slick though leads the race as we approach lap 19 of it. Lazy Killer is still, actually the AI Lazy Killer is still keeping the tail of Shell's Kitchen, just showing the superiority of this Red Bull. Not using any ERS though, and that is why the AI isn't quite as fast. Gaining so much as Bakero gets past Paisley on this occasion. Paisley down the inside, bumps his way through. It's almost like he's driving in a Briscoe car and just about holds on to 5th position. Whether the stewards will have a word about it or not, I'm not too sure. His Twins has now left the session. He was long DNF'd out of this race. Lazy Killer waiting for him to get back into the session anxiously, because right now he's holding on to 3rd position and actually holding on quite consequentially. Down the inside he goes, and my word, the AI is feeling a little bit racy today. Mistake from Shell's Kitchen might allow the AI to have a run on him. UCRS though knows where to defend from his computer, who, by the way, is ghosted anyway, so it's not like you can take him out. The race win quickly looking very likely for Slick here in the Ferrari. Well, to my knowledge, will be his first race win of the season. I'll quickly have a double check for you, as by the looks of things it will be. It's going to be his first race of the season. At least for Ferrari. I can't see him on the standings. AC Killer's AI still feeling incredibly racy and trying to attack that Alpine, I should say. The other Alpine is trying to attack Pierre Paisley. Maybe down the inside into Tosa, thinks against it, looks for the switchback on this occasion, can't quite get the power down on lap 20 of this race. 13 laps to go in it. Still all to play for in terms of the minor points paying positions. Race management really does go out the window in wet conditions like this, as now Felix Baker looks to make the most of a good exit from Aqua Minerale potentially, but it just slightly evades him and he has to hold on to 6th position. Here goes Lazy Killer once more. These two actually being the only sub 1 second gaps on the entire field. In the entire field, Luke Paul gets a 3 second time penalty in that Williams. Done well to drag it up to 8th, to be honest with you. There's just about looking to chase down this AI at any potential opportunity. Something that is not as easy for him as perhaps it would be if it was an equal division. Here goes Felix Baker trying to consolidate and make the most of a mistake by Guilherme Paisley. He is going to do so, and there goes the AI of Lazy Killer around, and he's going to lose 3rd position. That promotes Vicious Bell, who was taken out earlier on in this race, going to promote him into 3rd position, promotes Felix Baker into 4th, and Guilherme Paisley into a rather lowly 5th. Here's Fred the Red getting around Luke Paul, and Lazy Killer is involved as well, of course. He's now trying to attack Paisley, and he's going to do so. And oh, he almost made the move as Paisley goes off onto the runoff. That's certainly frustrating. Slick leads the race then by 5.9 seconds. Looks pretty comfortable in the lead. It's going to be Paisley, his teammate, that's probably the one to keep an eye on. Trying to attack Felix Baker with any possible opportunity. These two pretty even on pace. Baker knowing that his drive is now helping his team secure this 3rd position, something that they only need a solitary point in order to pick up. As we cross the line, there'll be 11 laps to go in this contest. On board with the Ferrari, use a little bit burst of ERS, but goes very deep into the corner and off into the gravel as well, and it won't be a time penalty, but it will be a frustrating moment for Guilherme Paisley. He can't quite find his way through on the Alpine, or well, through the circuit either. There's a move from the AI of Lazy Killer, which would have worked if it weren't for him being a ghost and all. I'm assuming this is still the AI because it's driving like an AI. I haven't seen him rejoin the session. Paisley, though, is catching up to Felix Baker. And the question now, of course, will be whether they are going to have to pit again on the intermediate tyres or if it's going to dry up towards the end of this race. You'd say potentially not. To both of those questions, actually. You never know, someone might try their luck. Because it does look to be a right old battle out there right now. It's not as wet as it was, I don't think. There seems to be a little bit more grip than there was straight after the safety car period. But that is only natural as the cars get back up to full speed. It's that sort of consistent drizzle that just makes the track so greasy and horrible. The game's not quite as in-depth enough to simulate the way that rubber behaves and grips up in these conditions, as Luke Paul gets past Fred the Red, who spins around down it. I think that's Villeneuve. He gets back going again rather gingerly. Chisabel gets a 3-second time penalty. It's not going to do much as there goes Paisley onto the grass, and now surely Lazy Killer's AI is going to fancy his chances here. Maybe not. Oh no, down the inside, maybe into Aqua Minerale. It's a superb move. Oh, it goes round to Paisley and into potentially the barrier. He keeps it out of the barrier, and that's going to allow Luke Paul to have an opportunity. Down the inside he goes. He's going to get through into 6th position, but for how long in the Williams? Another thing to keep an eye on is that Isabella's caught up to the struggling Shell's Kitchen, who is going to lose out on the win in this race. Will get third in the constructors' standings, which is of course their target for this race. Isabella though pressing on and needs to get 3 seconds on the Alpine in order to win this or get in second place on penalties. However, with 10% of energy, it's going to be a rather difficult move to make for him, as the rain still just about falls down. Luke Paul goes into the barrier, loses front wing as well. He's just struggling along, able to hold on to 8th position, but will have to come into the pits. He's struggling along onto the curb. Can break your floor if you're on the right settings. Those sausage curves on the inside of Villeneuve. We're not, I don't think. Yes, you can concede 8th position as well to Fred the Red, who's had all the troubles in this race. Lazy Killer's rejoined this session. He'll be regaining control in that ill-fated Red Bull in just a few moments' time. Luke Paul gets another 3-second time penalty. There is Felix Baker in the sights of Lazy Killer. That will now be his potentially only chance in this race. There he is, back into control of the Red Bull. He needs to get back into a rhythm very quickly indeed. Only 6 laps to go in this race. Not a long time at all. Slick 9 seconds into the lead of it. It's not going anywhere anytime soon. But the lead, of course. Just a spell, just had the wind taken out of his sails in the conquest to retake second position, or get into second position. Luke Paul now retires from the session into the pit lane, so there'll be no major drama there, no safety car. Does leave us with only the 10 runners in this race. It's just a spell now is going to go onto the grass. The important thing to note then is that as long as they're able to complete 75% of this race distance, Alpine will take 3rd position in the constructors' standings. Let me just quickly confirm with myself the various permutations around that, which I believe would be lap 24. So actually, hesitantly, I declare Alpine as 3rd in the standings, regardless of what happens now, having completed 24 laps and the 75% race distance. Though, come to think of it, 75% feels quite short given the circumstance of a 50% race. So wait and see what the stewards rule on that, should there be a need, which I doubt it, given that we've still got, well, we've only got about 6 laps left, haven't we? It's been rather subdued the last few laps, but now with Lazy Killer back in the session, sliding along still, but chasing down Felix Baker reasonably successfully. Will get that 4th position on penalties, and potentially even actually get into a podium position on penalties, with no penalties for Lazy Killer. Which is of course getting past here. We would then see that podium in sight, and it would be nice and achievable for him. Hasn't scored a podium, Lazy Killer, all throughout this season, and having a chance in a Red Bull, you really would like to think that you are going to be able to pick it up. He's surprisingly not on the standings that I've got in front of me. Oh no, he is. I apologise. No, he's picked up 2 race wins. Excuse my nonsense. He wasn't on my standings, but no, he's picked up 2 race wins, so this podium would be a help for him, let's say. I can only assume actually that was him being in a Red Bull at the start of the season, but I wasn't here for that, so I'll keep my mouth shut on things I don't know about. But this would actually secure him nicely 4th in the standings. Can he get around Felix Baker down into turn 1 maybe? The answer to that question is no, but Villeneuve next opportunity maybe. Onto the curve, very brave in these 2022 cars. There's an issue for Noka down the order. He's going to see him fall behind SC. You're not having a great run of things. The potential championship contender. Late apex for Lazy Killer is trying to fight this car through into 4th position, and then the podium that it will surely gain here. By my reckoning, he has already got this podium wrapped up. It just would help to do it on circuit, of course. Maybe Aqua Minerale is the opportunity. It won't be. A little bit too high risk reward, as there goes round a Ferrari, and it's Paisley into the wall on this occasion. No front wing damage out of Tosa, probably just lit up the rears, and adds to pretty torrid day for him, seeing his teammates at the top of the standings, no doubt. Down the inside goes Lazy Killer on the Alpine. Can he squeeze through? They bang wheels and down into the final corner. He tries to just about get the room and can't find it. He's going to have to wait for a switchback. Not a lot of ERS. Plenty of straight line speed though, and just about able to get into that 4th position. But will there be a counter attack from the Alpine, who's fighting so hard? He won't. He just about backs out of the move, knowing that he just needs to finish and secure 3rd position for his team in these constructors standings. The 3rd position that right now he stands to take, with him and Shell's Kitchen. Of course, Shell's Kitchen running in 2nd position. But I feel like to have the 2 cars constantly running will always add to their confidence. Right now it's Slick who is going to make it 4 laps to go at the line into what's essentially a 5-lapper, and I suggest now with 15 seconds of gap he's just trying to coast along here. Slick will be, to my knowledge, his first race win of the season. As the rain starts to ease somewhat around this Imola circuit, which, contrary to popular belief, doesn't actually sit inside of San Marino. It sits in the Italian province of Emilia-Romagna, if I'm pronouncing that correctly. The town, for what it's worth, while we've got a brief break in play, is actually had to, I believe, this is rumour, I have to say, it's a story that I want to be true. They voted to up their own taxes so that they could put on a Formula 1 Grand Prix. Which, if that's not just the most Italian thing you'll ever hear. Saying that endearingly, of course. They're passionate about their motorsports in Italy. Sabella's got a 9-second time penalty now, which will certainly give Lazy Killer that podium. He's given it a go, to be honest with you, but when you are corner cutting, track extending, I think is the correct term to use, and you do rack up penalties, you are going to lose out on positions. That's exactly what's going to happen here. That being said, he might want to do Shell's Kitchen on track just to, I suppose, bow out of the season in a favourable manner. On board with the Mercedes then. Unable to find anything just yet against the Alpine, though doesn't need to. As actually, Lazy Killer would get into 2nd position as it stands. And Shell's Kitchen lose out on that 2nd. Looks like it may now be a DNF for Noka. No, it won't be. Just about gets that car back going again, though. An ill-fated day, to say the least. And I mean to say the least. Here goes Slick. On to his last put 2 laps in this race. I used to quite fancy the word tri-ultimate, but turns out it is actually in the dictionary, so I won't use it. Is all this back end of the season been missing, and that's a run out for the last spot on a, or the first spot on a podium to the very end. But this battle will suffice for the time being, as they've sort of Constantine up. Lazy Killer will probably feel that 2nd position is the best he could have made out of this race, so to be able to get it despite not driving half of it is going to be pretty impressive. And I hope there's no penalties coming his way for not being in the session, because it's totally dumb luck. AI drove just as well as he did. Just a bell then. Within 5/10 of a second of Shell's Kitchen down into turn 1, but not quite able to find the base. You just need so much more straight line speed. It's why the DRS is so powerful here in Imola. Because if you can find that straight line speed, you'll no doubt go through, but without it, you're essentially not going to make any moves around this circuit. As the rain has now stopped towards the end of this race, no one going to brave it on the penultimate lap for slick tyres. I don't think they'll just nurse these ones to the end, as probably approaching the crossover period. An interesting development will be if DRS is enabled on the next lap, but going through the Variante Alta now, I don't think Slick is going to be too interested in allowing DRS to be enabled. It looks certainly dry enough, to be honest with you. A dry line definitely forming. Is ready to start his final lap of the day. It's Slick in the Ferrari. Almost certainly going to win now, unless something rather dramatic happens. This is where the real action is going to happen, as the battle for second position, the battle that Lazy Killer right now on penalties is going to win, and win rather comfortably. Can he do it on circuit though? Not a lot of ERS, if you can just about see it's 3% worth of it. Shell's Kitchen is saved, to be fair, not as well as, just as well as his two rivals. As Lazy Killer goes down the inside into Tamburello, is going to make the move on track regardless of any penalties that is coming the way of his two rivals. He's going to make the move bravely down into Tamburello and get a podium on circuit no matter the trouble. We'll get second position, of course, as well. So we'll keep an eye on that. Slick is just heading through up to Variante Alta now, and then he'll have 2 more corners to go. Get the power down. Be patient. Make sure don't make any mistakes. Rounding the final corner now. Slick is going to take his maiden win in the season finale. It's Forza Ferrari in Italy. And Slick wins the Grand Prix. It's a lights to flag Grand Slam to my knowledge as well. I'll check the fastest lap for confirmation of the Grand Slam in just a moment's time. Shell's Kitchen looks like he's going to finish the race second place on circuit. But in terms of penalties, he's going to be Lazy Killer with a strong, spirited drive back into second position. Shell's Kitchen is able to get into third. Felix Baker on fourth. Alpine are going to pick up third in the Constructors' Championship. AlphaTauri quite literally not at the races today. Double DNF for them. And that does do it with Fred the Red and Co crossing the line. It'll be Fred the Red next to cross the line. Then a couple more people further back. Actually, SC is having a battle with a man who's in his car up to the line. Not quite able to find anything here. This is for pure pride points at the moment. Can he find any way through? SC will feel like he really should have done the championship here, as he's let through at the final opportunity. And I think Paisley here just allowing him through, knowing that he's got that time penalty. We'll let him finish ahead on track and lose the car on exit as well. Noka rounding the final corner. He'll be the last across the line in this Season 5, the season that has been won by JB X221. To round off his statistics, it's going to be 5 race wins, 3 second places, no third places, however, but that makes it 8 podiums out of 12 rounds, which is unbelievably impressive. It's Red Bull, of course, winning the championship by quite a sizable margin as well, though it won't actually be 71 points in the end. Off the top of my head, it should be around about 63 instead. I'll wait for the podium celebration. So here is the Super Sub taking the crown for Ferrari in Italy. What a way to round off the season. Then we'll take it with a little bit of a grain of salt with JB and, of course, a couple of the other front runners not being in their usual cars this evening. But regardless, a win is a win. That goes down in the statistics, and, well, it's been a successful Season 5 of this realistic division. Dimensional line racing. Here are your race results. In Imola, Slick wins the race. It's not going to be a Grand Slam quite. He's pipped to the post by 0.5 of a second. Lazy Killer in second position with Shell's Kitchen in third. Felix Baker, Osha Sapel, I'm LPM, Fred the Red, Guillermo Paisley, SC Noka, Luke Paul, TNK, TX Twins, and JB rounding out the top 14. I can't get to the other ones, so I apologise about that. Says thank you to David Brooks, saying great commentary today. Pleasure to have everyone in the stream, of course. And Jake says, yo, how was the race? Well, I think you definitely want to watch that one back. But from myself, Tom Dillon, thank you all very much for watching yet another season of Dimensional Line Racing. And no doubt we will see you in the next one. Good night.